here I am again, Christina Mand-Lakhiani. This is Honest Conversations, and my guest today is Leon Logothetis. And Leon has traveled, so as usual, traditionally, I'll read the bio and then we'll go into the conversation. So Leon has traveled to over 100 countries and every continent for over a decade. Leon, I have to ask you, I believe if you say every continent, that includes Antarctica.
Do you know what? It's actually a mistake. I've been to every continent except Antarctica. I booked a cruise to Antarctica, but cancelled it at the last minute, like a fool, unfortunately.
Well, it's still accessible. I think it's fine in terms of your research of people, because it doesn't have a lot of people there. So I guess
that is true.
I guess it's an excuse. So Leon has devoted his life to inspiring the world with his message of kindness and hope. He has documented his experience through his best-selling books and TV shows, particularly The Kindness Diaries, now streaming on Discovery Plus. We, by the way, with kids, watch Discovery Plus, so I know what we're going to look for tonight. When he's not making TV shows and writing books, Leon travels worldwide and speaks to schools and businesses about the power of kindness, bravery, compassion, and empathy. And as I said, the topic for today was announced as why anger is a good thing, but I think we'll have to be talking both about kindness and courage as well, or bravery as well, because, I mean, how can we not if you're the kindness guy? So welcome, Leon, to Mind Valley.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you. And I am very excited about talking why anger is a good thing, because obviously it sounds like a good topic to talk about. But I want to start with kindness. How did you become the kindness guy? Because it's not, even in personal growth and transformation, and I've been doing it for 20 years, it's not the topic which is very much discussed.
So look, as a kid, I was viciously bullied for many, many years, and it left an imprint in me. And I never really told anyone what was going on. And I've followed the route of success that many of us follow, trying to be as successful as I could, make as much money as I could, et cetera, et cetera. I ended up as a broker in the city of London. And on the outside, I had everything you could ever want. But on the inside, I had nothing you would ever want, and no one knew. But I stumbled across the movie The Motorcycle Diaries, which is a romanticized version of Che Guevara traveling around South America, relying on kindness. And something from that movie just kind of shifted my perception of the world. And to cut a long story short, I quit my job and started to travel around the world relying on kindness. And I ended up walking across America on kindness. I ended up walking from Eiffel Tower to Red Square in Moscow on kindness. Then I did the Kindness Diaries, where I circumnavigated the world on a yellow motorbike, relying on kindness. But the actual moment that was somewhat subconscious was the fact that there was a lot of pain caused by people's unkindness. So I kind of decided to the best of my ability, share as much love as I possibly could, without doing it perfectly, of course, because even the kindness guy is not perfect.
I want to, Leon, you might not know, but we have the tradition of people actually joining the conversation if they dare. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and maybe sometimes it's not about being brave. But I want to let you know, and to those who are online with us right now, you have a chance to join in the conversation with your questions. So do leave your questions in Q&A. Thank God I have Bianca today to have my back, so she'll bring you up. So just leave your questions early enough, because you know me. If I get too much into a conversation, I won't give you a chance. So Leon, back to you. So obviously, in this context that you were just describing, kindness is an act. It's not just a feeling. And I'd like to maybe even start with definitions. How do you define kindness, at least in your teachings?
So I define kindness as simply helping someone feel less alone. And when I was a kid, I did have people that helped me feel less alone. And that's really why I had a witness. I had a witness to my pain. I had a witness to my struggles. And when you make someone feel less alone, you are a witness to their pain and you are a witness to their struggles. And that is one of the most important things we can do, to be a witness. And when we are a witness, emotional witness, right? We are being kind.
So I'll ask a slightly unpleasant question probably, but in our very pragmatic world, does kindness have hope? Because, you know, we like things to be monetizable.
Does kindness have hope?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, you know, I think it's part of our DNA. As human beings, we all need to be kind. We all need to receive kindness. Yeah. So it's not just about the black and white of how much money we make or how much success we can have. At the base of our humanity, part of our DNA, as I mentioned, is that piece of touching our own humanity. And we touch our humanity by being vulnerable, by being kind, by being open, by being respectful, by making people feel like they matter. So I think it's absolutely an important part of our lives. Imagine if all kindness disappeared and there was no kindness, there was no hope, there was no love, because kindness really is another word for love. If you take away kindness, you take away love, then what are we? We're just machines.
So considering that you've actually gotten to work on Disney Plus, which is a big commercial institution, and you have several books, how do you convince to invest in kindness as a topic per se? Because and I don't argue that kindness is necessary. I'm trying to understand how to promote it in a very pragmatic world where everything has to pay.
Well, the way that I promoted the Kindness Diaries, which was the trip where I took my motorbike all the way around the world, it was an adventure. You know, it's an adventure. It's this crazy adventure of this guy who has no money and circumnavigates Earth, relying on kindness. It's not, it's about kindness, but really this is a great adventure show. Yeah. So you kind of, you don't put kindness necessarily out there right in front of people's faces. It's an adventure, and then they see the kindness after watching the adventure.
So it will be a little bit funny turn maybe, but back to the conversation, the topic that we announced, anger. Considering that you are the kindness guy there, and now the topic that anger is a good thing sounds a little bit counterintuitive. So can you explain what do you mean?
Okay, so anger is a good thing comes from my new book, Go Be Brave, right? Which I have here, and I'm going to do what I hate when people do, but here it is. Go be brave, all right? And basically, I just...
wait, excuse me for interrupting you. I've heard it actually is out on this month, right? April 25th.
Yes, it's coming. You can pre-order it now, but it's coming out on April 25th. And, you know, bravery to me is simply the speaking of our truth, right? So if we're in pain, or if we want to become something, you know, we want to quit our jobs, most of us don't speak our truth. We don't actually do that act of bravery, right? So part of the book is 24 3/4 adventures to be brave. And one of those adventures is to become angry, right? And when you hear that, you're like, ooh, I can't become angry. Anger's bad, right? I have to hold my anger in. I can't share my truth. I can't share my pain. I cannot get angry. And I'm not suggesting that you get angry and harm people, right? I'm not suggesting that you pick up the phone and start screaming at someone who's done some bad things to you. What I'm suggesting, and why I say that anger is good, is simply to get your anger out in a healthy way. A healthy way. One of the ways that I found that is really healthy is journal. So I take a journal, and let's say I write a letter to someone who's upset me. I don't ever send them the letter, but I let it all out, all of my truth. And by letting it out, and by letting my anger out safely, it stops me from going and doing something harmful, right? So that's why I say that anger is a good thing. Let it out safely, let it out healthily, and then when you come into the situation that causes you anger, the chances are that you will behave in a calmer way because it's not bubbling up inside. You've let it out through the journal, through telling someone, through going to a therapist, through going on a run, something. Let the feeling out, otherwise it will consume you, as with all feelings.
So, since it's one of the adventures that you suggest, why did it become one of the adventure? What is actually, you know what? Let's take a step back, because right now we are a little bit out of context. Your book has a very bizarre title, actually, 24 3/4 of an adventures. I would like to ask about that, but that maybe is going to take the conversation elsewhere. What are these adventures, and why do you suggest people do the adventures, and then why anger is one of them?
Yeah, so to me, I've always learnt by feeling things, by experiencing something, not necessarily just by reading it. So what I wanted to do was create an experiential book where you can do specific adventures that will make you feel something. Instead of just intellectualizing it, you feel it. For example, going back to why is anger a good thing? You could read me just saying, oh, anger is a good thing because of this and because of that, because of this, and then we move on to the next chapter. Or you could go on an actual experiential adventure where I tell you, or I guide you to actually get mad. Get mad safely, right? In a journal. Go into your shower and scream. Get mad. Don't fear your anger. So it's an experiential 24 adventures that enable you to immerse yourself into the feeling of being brave, right? And the book is really, of course, the book is called Go Be Brave. It's about bravery, but really, it's about being magnificent. The only way we can be magnificent, the only way we can become wise, the only way we can become fearless is to be brave, which is to speak our truth, which is to share our pain, which is to stand in our power. So it's called Go Be Brave, but it could have been called Go Be Magnificent.
So what does magnificent mean in that context?
So magnificence for each person is different, right? Some people's life, they are guided to, let's say, be a broker. That's their true calling, right? And they're living their truth. And if you live your truth, whatever that may be, you are living magnificently. I was not living my truth as a broker, so I was not living magnificently. Now, as a TV host, author, public speaker, that is my truth. That is my place to be. That is me living in my being. I am living magnificently because of that. And to get there, I needed to make some decisions that started by simply being brave, speaking my truth. Everyone has a truth that maybe they're not sharing. And it's not necessarily just about emotional pain. It could be about, oh, I want to raise. It could be about, I'm a baker and I really want to be a car mechanic, but I don't want to tell anyone because my father wants me to be a baker, or whatever it may be. Speaking our truth starts the domino effect of getting to that place of being magnificent. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I want to ask you, so if you invite people to speak their truth, and then one of the adventures is to get angry, isn't there a little danger of people speaking what they think is their truth in anger, or do you give some safety tips how to do that?
No, absolutely. Like when I say speak your truth, I'm not saying to go up to let's say an enemy and speak your truth, because if you do, the chances are you're going to get squashed. And I'm very, very clear when it comes to anger. I'm not suggesting you become angry and it's a negative experience and you harm someone else or you harm yourself. If you're in the shower by yourself and you get angry and start screaming, no one gets hurt, but you release the anger. If you are angry at someone and you write in a journal all the things you're angry with, and you have a moment, no one's going to get hurt. I am not suggesting under any circumstances that you take your anger and do it in a shaming way that hurts someone else or hurts yourself. Do not do that. And it's very clear in the book that there are parameters that you share your anger. You share your anger safely, whether it's with a therapist, whether it's with a friend, whether it's with a journal, whether it's in a forest by yourself, whether it's in the shower. Or what I'm saying is get your anger out safely.
Yeah, I suspected that would be the case. I just wanted to poke a little bit, and I'll keep poking a little bit. I want to ask, what's the difference between you speaking your truth versus you having a point of view? Because very often we have the situation where somebody may say something, let's say about me, or express their opinion in a way which is hurtful to people around, and then defend themselves by saying, I'm just saying the truth. So what's,
So doctors have a philosophy which is do no harm, right? So just have the same philosophy, do no harm. I'm not telling you to share your truth and harm someone. I'm not telling you to share your truth and harm yourself. I'm telling you to share your truth with someone safe. I'm suggesting you share your truth, and that moment of speaking your truth with someone safe opens the floodgates for your life to shift. Whatever that truth is. Maybe you are an alcoholic and you haven't told anyone. The moment you share your truth of that to someone safe, your life will change. It will not automatically, it won't go from 1 to 10 overnight, but that lie, that inability to speak truth that has been living inside you for years, the door will crack open. Gently, gently, gently. Do not go out and start telling people all of these things about yourself on social media. Find one person and speak your truth. And that's the moment that things shift.
What happens if the truth that you realize might have effect on people in your life? For example, very simple example, that you are unhappy in your relationship and you might have children, or that you hate your job but you have bills to pay. What happens then?
So that's why people don't share their truth, because the consequences of sharing truth sometimes is not good in the short run, right? And again, if that's the situation where you're unhappy in a relationship and you've told no one, maybe the point of sharing your truth is to pick up the phone and call a friend and say, hey, John, can I meet you for coffee? There's something I want to share with you. Okay, yeah, no worries. So you go with John, and for the first time in your life, you tell someone the truth. John, I'm unhappy in my relationship. I'm just telling you this because I heard this crazy Englishman speak and tell me that he wanted me to share my truth. And it's been causing me a lot of problems inside. And I want to let you know. And hopefully John will be like, oh, okay, well, I'm really sorry to hear that. If you need any help, let me know. That one act starts a process. And it's not an easy process. You've got to keep going. There's a famous, I don't know if it's a quote, but the only way out is through. Yeah. So you have to start the process, and the process is speaking your truth. And speaking your truth is an act of profound bravery, because the moment you speak your truth about being in an unhappy relationship, the universe works in mysterious ways. You've started the process of opening it up, right? And you may turn around and say, oh, it's too much pain for me to go through. I've spoken my truth once. That's it. I was brave once, Leon. I'm not going to be brave again. Okay, no worries. But if you keep acting, keep small little moments of bravery, small little moments of truth, there will come a time when either you leave that relationship or you find a way to fix that relationship. But if you say nothing and you do nothing, it's not gone away. It's still there. You're still feeling it consciously or subconsciously. Let it out. It's all I'm saying. And that could be about pain, it could be about relationships, it could be about career. Start with the truth. Start with the truth. Maybe that should have been the name of the book. Start with the truth.
It can be the name of the next book,
Exactly.
You have 24 3/4 of adventures or something like that. Can you explain what is the 3/4 and why such a number? Does it have significance and what are the adventures? It's just, the moment I saw it, I had to ask this.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the reason why I did that, because it's kind of curious. It causes curiosity. Why 24 3/4 adventures? Why not just 24? Like the 24 3/4 adventure, the last adventure, is kind of like, it's just, let me just get it here. It's kind of like the final act. It's kind of like a small little final thing that you're going to do to kind of, make sure the happy dance, right? So you've done everything. And basically I'm suggesting now that you've gone and done all these adventures in bravery, it's time to do a happy dance. It's a silly little thing, but you've gone through the book, you've experienced all this magic, and now to kind of embody all of it, you are going to do a happy dance. So that's kind of, it's like a 75% adventure, not a full 100% adventure.
So I know we have someone joining us, but Antonio, before you join, I have to ask this question because it was on my mind as well. It might sound a little redundant, but still, how do you find courage to be brave?
That is not a redundant question. It's an absolutely excellent question. Okay. So my definition of bravery is ultimately speaking your truth. We've kind of talked about that, right? Courage is taking action. Yeah. So let's go back to the discussion that I'm supposedly having with John, right? So I have a bad relationship and I've bravely spoken my truth to John. That's the first act in the process of becoming magnificent. The second act is taking action. If I don't take any action to fix this relationship, nothing's going to change. So bravery is speaking your truth. Courage is taking action. So there are two different things. I came up with an equation. I mean, I wasn't very good at math as a child, but I came up with an equation, which is bravery plus courage equals a magnificent life. So let's use that based on my story. I bravely spoke my truth when I was a kid at 15 years old to my mother that I was being bullied, right? I had kept it a secret for many years and I finally spoke it. That was my brave action, my act of bravery. Courage was my mother and I deciding that I was going to move schools. The action, I was going to move schools. And that enabled me to live this magnificent life. Again, that's simplified, okay? But that's basically it. Bravery, speaking your truth. Courage, taking action.
Thank you for that. We'll leave courage at that for now because we have Antonio joining us. So Antonio, if you're ready, we are ready to hear you and to see you. Yay. Hi. We see you, we don't hear you yet. Oh, yeah, here. Yeah.
How are you doing? Christina, Bianca, Leon, thank you very much for the opportunity. My question was how you turn anger into something good. And I want to share some of my story because I just realized that what you just said. And once I finish this call, I'm going to write down a letter to let my anger out because I have an issue with my brother-in-law, a person that I love so much that took all my money 6 years ago. And I just got a fever. Actually, this morning I was sick because I was not letting my anger out. So I got fever this morning, and this is a message for me. So start writing down all the things out in a safely way. And you say, well, take massive action. And how are you gonna take massive action if you don't want to see this person anymore? Because I don't want to see him. I just if I see him, I'm probably gonna beat him, but I'm not gonna be able to do it because he just moved out from another country. So there's no way we can have another meeting. So how you take that massive action besides write it down? Because one thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write it down, all the things and empty myself from the anger. So can you explain how you do that in a deep way?
Yeah, look, I will tell you that by writing the letter you're going to write, you are taking the massive action. You'll write the letter, and I promise you, if you do it with all of your heart and all of your soul, by the end of the letter writing process, and after you've read it a few times, new things will come to you. You will be in a different place than you were before you started writing the letter. And massive action can be small little things. Yeah. So writing the letter could be argued as, oh, this is something small, but it's also something massive, because you'll write that letter and shifts will happen inside you that will get you to a different place. And like I said, it's small steps. And inside that small step is something massive. Writing that letter is a small step, but it's also massive. So don't think to yourself, oh, I'm going to write the letter and all of a sudden everything's going to work itself out. No, most people give up, right? They give up. They'll write a letter and they'll be like, oh, Leon was lying. I didn't resolve all my problems, blah, blah, blah. It's not about that. It's a small act that leads to small changes. Like, for example, I don't know if you know the analogy of a tanker ship, a tanker. Like a tanker, to turn a tanker takes a long time, right? But you turn it slowly and everything starts to change, and slowly, right? It doesn't, it's not like a, I don't know, like a helicopter that can turn like that. It takes time. And the first act of turning the tanker for you, I would imagine, is writing this letter. Yeah. So write the letter, and I promise you, new things will come to you. New solutions will come to you. And if you need to write, and I'm not going to exaggerate, if you, I know what you're feeling, I've experienced it, right? If you need to write 1,000 letters in your journal, then write 1,000 letters. Just never stop until the rage has kind of subsided and you have found a solution. Yeah, I'm never going to say what that fellow did is acceptable. Based on what you're telling me, it's not. But it's on you to resolve that rage that's living in you and resolve it. And you could sit there and say, oh, Leon, you don't understand what's going on. You don't know my life. Well, you know, maybe I don't know your life, but I sense your pain. I've been there and I know how I fixed it. And it took a long time. It took a long time. If you never give up, you will win. If you give up, you will not win.
So I'm probably going to write 1,000 letters, for sure, because it's deep down. It's been 6 years since that event occurred, and I got news from him on Friday, and I got sick yesterday. So it's deep down. So even though I'm moving on, I move forward and I'm doing some things great, that little thing still bugging me inside. So I will take the recommendation of writing the 1,000 letters until it's out, right? Because the thing is how you realize is, because for me, I was healed until something happens, and then it turning back. So how you know how you really heal?
So look, this is what we're going to do. As you're speaking, I have goosebumps. I know where you are. I've experienced it. It's a hellish place to be. Reach out to me on Instagram at the kindness guy, right? I will give you my WhatsApp number. And it's interesting actually, because in the book, there is an adventure called Finding a Truth Buddy, right? It's about finding a truth buddy where you can share your truth with them. And I will be your truth buddy if you want me to be your truth buddy, because I understand. I get it. You don't understand how much I get it. I get it, right? So I will, if you want me to be your truth buddy, I will. Send me the kindness guy on Instagram. I'll give you my WhatsApp and we can stay connected. I feel your pain. I understand.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Antonio, for sharing. And by the way, guys, you see, sometimes it's so valuable to just have the courage to come online and share what's maybe painful. So thank you, Antonio, for that. And since you brought back the topic of anger, which I think is a good thing, I wanted to ask. So one thing is clear: when you have anger and when you have rage, you have to let it out. It's good for you. But is there anything good in the feeling itself that you are feeling anger? Can you maybe
Yes, I mean,
this one?
Look, if you were a robot, I would imagine you probably, I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a robot, but if you were a robot, you wouldn't feel any anger. Like, I don't know a human being that doesn't have anger. That's part of life. If I meet someone that says to me, and I'm just making this up, oh, I never get angry, I'm very concerned, because that means you're just hiding your pain and you're hiding your feelings, but your feelings are not hiding from you. They are still there, right? So I am not saying, again, I want to be clear. I don't want anyone to leave this call and immediately go and tell someone who they don't like exactly what they feel and cause a ruckus. Don't do that. That's not going to help. But you want to tell someone safe, do it. You want to scream in the shower, do it. You want to scream in the bath, do it. You want to walk into a forest and have a controlled breakdown, have one, or an uncontrolled breakdown. Yeah. So anger is good, and anger is part of who you are. I'm sorry. It is part of who we are. When someone does something bad to you, it is normal to get angry.
So I see there are more questions coming in. So Bianca, you can bring up the next person. Meanwhile, I wanted to share, I had an experience once when the moment of feeling anger was in a way like a relief to me, because I realized at that moment, that whatever I was feeling before was in a way like numbness or some kind of almost like depression. So for me, anger was a more positive emotion than whatever it was before. So I just, as you were talking about that, I somehow remembered that experience, and I felt that I wanted to share it. Meanwhile, we got Jen here. So Jen, when you find your picture and your voice, join us in with your question. And Leon, thank you for your kind offer to Antonio. It's quite unique. So thank you for doing that.
Oh, worries.
Hi guys. Hi Christina, Leon. Thank you for letting me ask. I stopped getting angry a long time ago. I get frustrated. I get pissed off at people, and sometimes I just have to walk away. And I just stopped getting angry. And sometimes I wish I could get angry, because at work or wherever I go, for years, I've always been known as like sweet Jen or the nicest Jen. And even last night at work, people were making fun of me because I just never get angry. And they say like I'm a secret mafia person or something, just because I'm always so cool and calm. But sometimes I do get frustrated, or I think, that guy's being a total jerk. But I walk away. I just think it's his problem. I don't want to feed into it. I just walk away. So is that normal to not really get angry or just frustrated? Because I at some point I think, okay, I've worked enough on it that I don't really get angry. But sometimes I think I really would like to.
Look, I think the Dalai Lama probably gets less angry than most people in the world, right? But I would imagine he still gets angry. But maybe he can deal with his anger in a better way than you and I can. Yeah. So I'm not suggesting that you need to like all of a sudden become angry all the time. And like, I'm exaggerating, right? And like start like being mean to people. And every time someone does something bad to you, just like throw orange juice in their face. I'm not saying that. There are some moments maybe you can look at and think to yourself, okay, this makes me angry, but I'm not really feeling the anger. What's that about? Yeah. Because that's a really important piece. So when you're kind of repressing your anger, that's a challenge, I would say. So look at it that way. In the moments where someone does something that you would normally think you should get angry, but you're not getting angry, maybe you're repressing your anger.
Yeah. No, okay. There are fine nuances to anger, I think. And And yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Jed, for joining us. And by the way, I want to say that, you know, we confirmed this call actually quite last minute. So we even made an announcement quite late. Why I'm saying that, and we actually have a pretty good turnout considering all of that. Why I'm saying that is that I think that this topic is actually incredibly important. And I'm very thankful to you, Leon, for, in a way, advocating anger. And I get all the circumstances and the explanations and the disclaimers that you're not suggesting that people get angry all the time. But I think it is such a healthy and refreshing thing to allow yourself this kind of feeling. So thank you for that. And I think you can totally advocate anger. You're free to do that. Bianca, I want to give another, I think we have the time for one more person if somebody wants to join, because I see there are questions coming in. So if somebody wants to join us, let that person join. Leon, I want to ask you, what are other safe ways of experiencing your anger? So we talked about journaling and writing letters and about talking to therapists. Is there anything else you could suggest, considering that you've researched this topic already?
Well, one of the ways I deal with my anger is I will, if I'm angry, again, and there's sometimes when I get angry where the good things I'm suggesting to you, I can't do myself, right? Mm-hmm. But if I'm really rageful, I will put on a song that calms me down and I will listen to it on repeat, maybe for an hour, maybe for 2 hours. And if I'm at 100% rage, well, no, 100% rage is tipping point. If I'm at 99% rage, and I listen to that song on repeat, something that touches my heart, that calms me down, I will go down to 60%, 50%. And then that space enables me to react in a better way. So it's a simple thing. If you are on the cusp of letting your anger overtake you, find a song that touches your soul, go into a quiet place in your house or in your car, listen to it for 30 minutes. I promise you, you will become less angry. I promise you, guaranteed. But it has to be a calming song. Don't put heavy metal on. Well, if heavy metal calms you, then put heavy metal on.
Yeah, that's fun. So Wendy, thank you for joining us. And yes, we're ready for a question.
Hi, because I agree with everything you're saying, and I do the music thing, and I'm sure they can hear me through the whole entire town, maybe the whole city. But I also believe that there are times when you need to express that anger. And like, I don't understand the part about, okay, so, well, go away first and calm down. But because I do that sometimes too, you know, I think about it for 2 or 3 days and then I confront the person, you know, trying to stay more calm. But I find when I do that, I just get as angry as I was at the beginning. So isn't it sometimes better just to address the issue right when it's happening? Because then as long as, you know, you're not going into full rage and, you know, haul off and sock the person in the face or something. But isn't it more healthy to just deal with it right then and there, so that you're being more honest and open?
It's an excellent point. At some point, you do have to deal with it, right? Mm-hmm. At some point, you have to deal with the situation. What I'm suggesting is that you deal with your own rage that could overflow and cause more problems first, and then you deal with the problem. Now, of course, there are certain situations where it's difficult to do that. I understand that. And the rage reaches 100% and you can't do any of the things I'm suggesting you do. But yes, you have to face the situation. I'm suggesting you face it as calmly as you can. Otherwise, it will increase in intensity. But face it. So good point.
Yeah, it's just because, you know, like just say, you know, like a person was dealing with constant, you know, the same person always coming at them and coming at them and coming at them. And then, well, this is what I did. And then I don't react and I go away for like 3 days and think about, okay, how could I reacted in, you know, a good way, letting them know that I'm really you know, flipping angry. And but then when I decided to contact the person, I went from 0 to 10, like as soon as they opened their mouth, and I'm wondering if I dealt with it that way because I didn't react the first time. And then I thought I was calming it down, but I wasn't. So the minute they opened their mouth and said, hello, well, you're going to let me talk first. And I just went, boom. All right, I'm lost.
Sure.
I'm 10 or 11, you know?
Sure.
So I'm just wondering if I would have dealt with it right when it was happening, instead of pondering it over and seeing ways I could calm myself. And then when they opened their mouth, I went right back over the edge again. Like, is that an issue, or like, how do I not do that even after I've taken the break and I've done my, you know, music and letting out my anger? You know, sometimes I've punched a pillow, you know, and I just imagined it was them, you know. But it was just that as soon as they opened their mouth, I went right off the deep end. And I don't know if it's because I let it happen for so many years before I addressed the issue. Maybe that was the problem. I see, that's what I don't understand. How do I get myself to,
Wendy,
yeah.
Can I suggest that you do what Antonio is planning to do? Write 1,000 angry emails. Oh, not emails.
Not emails. Don't send any angry
Not emails. Sorry, I said the wrong word. Angry letters on paper. On paper.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good too. I was just wondering about, how do you keep yourself from just going back to 10 immediately as soon as you hear their voice?
So I will tell you. I'll tell you. Basically, you have to have a relationship with your own anger. And if you have a relationship with your own anger, you can resolve the relationship that you have with the other person, because the relationship really is with your own anger. It's not necessarily with that other human. Fix your relationship with your own anger. I know it's easy to say that, right? But fix your relationship with your own anger, and then you can go in and have the conversation.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get that now. Sorry. I must no, but that's very important. Now I'm going to do that. So thank you very much. I never even thought about that part. Yeah. I was just,
no worries.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, for joining us and for sharing your story. And I think this question was very, very valid. Very often we feel anger for a reason, and if that reason isn't removed, we keep feeling anger. So I guess it was very timely question. So unfortunately, we have to be finishing up now, but I want to ask maybe a little bit about your book. No, you know what? We'll finish a little later. I want to ask this. As a kindness guy, how did you come to that topic about being brave and anger, among the other things? Because they do seem, well, kindness and courage probably are not very contradictory, but kindness and anger are quite well, not maybe on the opposite ends of the scale, but they're quite far from each other.
So to be kind, you have to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
To be brave, which is in my definition speaking your truth, you have to be vulnerable. So that's where the link is. Vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. And with the anger, how did that come up suddenly?
So we've had some pretty vulnerable conversations on this call.
Mm-hmm.
To talk about your anger is to talk about your truth.
Mm-hmm.
To share your anger is to share your truth. To share your anger in a way that doesn't harm someone is to become aware. It's all linked to the piece of being human. The book is really about reminding us how to be human, and our humanity is delicate. Our humanity is vulnerable. So it's all kind of in the same family, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does make sense. I am, of course, curious about the other 23 adventures, because we know about 1 3/4. So I want to ask, so how can people get your book? I know it's coming out very soon, so congratulations on that. I know it's not the first one, but still, congratulations. And yeah, if anybody wants to dive into the adventures,
they can go to Amazon. Amazon is the best way to get it.
Okay, cool. And it's called, once again, for people who want to...
It's called Go Be Brave.
You'll be brave. Cool. Thank you for that. And I want to do the traditional closing of this honest conversation by asking people who are online with us to leave a heart for my wonderful guest. And for people who are watching it later in recording, and that's actually a lot of people, to leave a heart in the comments below. And Leon, while people are leaving their hearts, how could people work with you if they want to work with you or follow you? What's next? Do you actually work with people? Because you're traveling the world, writing books and doing TV, probably. I don't even know if you do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, the best way to contact me is through Instagram at The Kindness Guy. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to connect with people. I mean, I can't respond to everyone, but I try my very best. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to be able to share my story and to remind everyone that we're all the same. We just want to be heard. We just want to be loved. We just want to be seen. And the most beautiful way to get to that place is to bravely and courageously become magnificent.
Thank you for that. And yeah, it's quite a brand to be The Kindness Guy. So I I think it's really awesome. So thank you for coming here and for sharing your kindness and your wisdom with us. And thank you, Bianca, for having my back today, not just my back. Thank you guys who joined us in the conversation and who shared their stories, and everybody who's just in the chat leaving messages, and those who are going to be watching it later. Thank you guys for watching my shows, and I'll see you soon again.
Okay, thanks so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.